Some people think silence means nothing is happening, but silence is often where justice begins. The people who betrayed you, lied to you, humiliated you. They may look untouched right now. They may still smile in public, still win, still pretend they did nothing wrong. And that's the part that breaks people the most. Watching cruel hearts appear blessed while good souls suffer quietly. But there's something life reveals over time that most people never notice. When someone wounds a genuine soul, they don't just create pain, they awaken consequences. Invisible consequences, the kind that slowly enter a person's peace, relationships, purpose, and even their identity. Because every act of betrayal leaves an echo, and eventually that echo returns. Maya Angelou once understood a painful truth about human nature. People can hide from the world, but they can never truly hide from themselves. The guilt, the emptiness, the unraveling always begins within. And sometimes the very chaos entering their life is not random at all. In this video, you'll discover 7 powerful signs that reveal when life, and perhaps something far greater, is dealing with the people who hurt you. Some of these signs are subtle, others are terrifyingly obvious, but once you recognize them, you'll never look at betrayal the same way again. There's a strange moment that happens after someone destroys a good person. At first, they feel powerful, untouchable. They laugh louder, move on faster, act like they escaped every consequence. And that illusion becomes dangerous because they start believing they won. But then something shifts. The peace they once had begins collapsing in ways nobody else can see. Small cracks appear first. Restlessness at night, irritation over nothing, a strange emptiness that success can't fix, because fake peace is fragile. It survives on distraction, ego, and temporary applause. The moment silence enters their life, truth enters with it. People who hurt genuine souls often think punishment looks dramatic. They expect lightning, exposure, revenge. But life is far more psychological than that. Sometimes the real consequence is watching a person slowly lose the ability to feel joy, trust, or inner calm. Their smile still exists, but it no longer reaches their spirit. And the terrifying part is this: the more they pretend everything is fine, the heavier the weight becomes inside them. Maya Angelou understood that people can fake an image for the world, but they cannot fake peace within themselves forever. Sooner or later, the mask begins to slip. Because when someone breaks a heart that carried nothing but loyalty, life has a way of removing the very peace they once took for granted. And what starts happening next is something they never see coming. One of the most unsettling things to witness is this: a person lies about you, manipulates your name, twists your kindness into weakness, and somehow people believe them. For a while, it feels like truth has no power at all, like deception is winning, but lies have a hidden weakness most people don't understand. A lie must constantly be protected, repeated, defended, and eventually the person carrying it becomes exhausted by the weight of their own performance. Because when someone builds relationships on manipulation, they slowly lose the ability to control the story. Their words begin colliding with each other. Their energy changes. Their mask slips in moments they never intended. And that's when something strange begins to happen. The same people who once agreed with them start noticing inconsistencies, tiny details, contradictions, a coldness in their character that suddenly feels impossible to ignore. Not because you expose them, but because truth has a presence that deception can never imitate for long. Maya Angelou once said that people will reveal exactly who they are if you watch long enough. And life has a mysterious way of pulling hidden character into the light, especially when someone harmed a genuine soul for their own ego. What's terrifying is that most people who betray others don't realize the downfall begins long before public exposure. It starts the moment trust quietly disappears from the eyes around them. And by the time they finally notice people pulling away, the damage is already irreversible. There's a loneliness that doesn't come from being alone. It comes from becoming the kind of person nobody can truly trust anymore. At first, the people who hurt you rarely feel isolated. In fact, they often surround themselves with noise, friends, attention, distractions, constant validation. Because deep down, they are trying to outrun something. The silence, the reflection, the uncomfortable awareness of what they've become. But eventually something changes. The connections around them start feeling hollow. Conversations lose meaning. Relationships become transactional. And even when they sit in a crowded room, they feel emotionally disconnected from everyone there. Why? Because betrayal changes a person internally. Once someone chooses manipulation over loyalty, they begin carrying a hidden fear that others might do the same thing to them. And that fear poisons everything. They start overthinking innocent actions, doubting genuine people, questioning loyalty everywhere they go. The very pain they cause becomes the lens through which they now see the world. This is why some of the most emotionally lost people are those who once wounded others without remorse. Maya Angelou understood that character shapes reality. What lives inside someone eventually creates the atmosphere around them. And when someone destroys a sincere heart, they often unknowingly destroy their own ability to experience deep connection afterward. What makes this so haunting is that nobody notices the loneliness immediately. The smiles still exist. The social media posts still appear. The laughter still sounds real enough. But behind closed doors, something inside them has already started collapsing. And the worst part, they may not even realize why. Some people achieve everything they thought they wanted and still cannot sleep peacefully at night. That's the part nobody talks about. The person who hurt you may still gain money, attention, status, even admiration from others. From the outside, their life can look untouched. And for a while, that image can make you question everything. You wonder if kindness was weakness, if loyalty was foolish, if people who betray others somehow rise faster in this world. But appearances hide private battles, because there is a difference between success and peace. One is seen by people, the other is felt in silence. And many who destroy genuine hearts eventually discover that external victories cannot silence internal emptiness. At first, they distract themselves. More achievements, more validation, more noise. But the human soul has a terrifying habit of forcing unresolved truth to the surface, especially in quiet moments, especially at night. The guilt they buried begins returning through anxiety, emotional numbness, irritation, or a strange inability to feel fulfilled no matter how much they gain. Maya Angelou understood something profound about human nature. When people betray others for selfish reasons, they slowly disconnect from their own authenticity. And once someone loses connection with themselves, nothing external feels fully satisfying anymore. That's why some people smile in public yet secretly feel exhausted by their own life. They keep chasing bigger success, believing the next achievement will finally remove the emptiness, but it never does. Because the wound they created in someone else quietly became a wound inside themselves too. And eventually, they begin realizing there are some things money, attention, and status can never bring back. There's a dangerous mistake people make when they hurt someone deeply. They assume pain disappears once the moment passes. They think your silence means you healed instantly. They think because you stopped arguing, stopped explaining, stopped chasing closure, the damage no longer exists. But what they fail to understand is this: pain never vanishes untouched. It transforms. And sometimes life has a terrifying way of allowing people to experience the same emotional chaos they once created in others. Not always in the same form, not always from the same person, but eventually the lesson returns. The ones who mocked your heartbreak often find themselves facing confusion they cannot control. sleepless nights, betrayal from unexpected people, emotional instability that appears without warning. Suddenly, they become desperate for understanding, loyalty, reassurance, the very things they once denied someone else. And the frightening part is how personal it feels when it happens. Because deep down, human beings recognize emotional patterns. Somewhere inside themselves, they begin remembering how casually they ignored another person's suffering, how cold they became, how easily they justified cruelty when they had the power. Maya Angelou understood that life teaches through reflection. The energy people release into others eventually circles back, not always as punishment, but as revelation. A forced understanding of pain they once lacked the empathy to comprehend. And when that realization finally hits, it changes something inside them forever. Because nothing unsettles a person more than suddenly feeling the exact loneliness, confusion, and emotional abandonment they once caused someone else. And realizing too late what they destroyed when they had the chance to protect it. The most painful consequences in life are rarely immediate. Sometimes they arrive years later, in a moment so quiet and unexpected that it changes a person forever. There comes a day when the people who hurt you begin comparing everyone they meet to the person they lost. And suddenly what they once treated casually becomes impossible to replace. At first they don't notice it. Ego blinds them, pride convinces them that loyalty is common, that genuine love is easy to find, that another good person will eventually appear. So they walk away from sincerity as if it were ordinary. But life has a brutal way of educating arrogant hearts. Over time, they encounter people who manipulate them, disappoint them, use them, betray them. Conversations become shallow, connections feel temporary, and little by little they begin remembering the one person who loved them without hidden intentions. The one person who stayed honest in a world full of masks. That realization becomes its own punishment. Because regret is not loud at first. It whispers. It appears in random memories, in lonely nights, in moments when they need emotional safety and suddenly realize the person who once gave it freely is no longer there. Maya Angelou understood something many people learn too late. Sincere souls are rare, and people often recognize true value only after their own actions destroy it. That's why some individuals spend years pretending they moved on, while secretly replaying the memory of the person they hurt. Not because they lost attention, not because they lost comfort, but because deep down they know they lost something real. And the terrifying part is this: by the time they finally understand your worth, life may no longer give them access to you again. One of the most frightening moments in life is not when someone loses you. It's when they finally understand who you truly were after you're already gone. At first, people who hurt good souls rarely appreciate them. Familiarity blinds them. Your patience looks ordinary. Your loyalty feels expected. Your forgiveness becomes something they assume will always be there. And because of that, they treat your presence carelessly, never imagining a future without it. But absence reveals truth with brutal clarity. The moment you stop fighting for their attention, stop explaining yourself, stop carrying the emotional weight of the relationship, something begins shifting inside them. The silence becomes louder than every argument ever was. They start noticing the peace, warmth, and sincerity that disappeared with you. And that realization can haunt a person for years. Because human beings often misunderstand value until life removes it completely. Maya Angelou understood this deeply. She knew that some people only awaken emotionally after loss forces them to confront their own behavior. Suddenly, memories return differently. Conversations they ignored become meaningful. Small acts of love they once overlooked begin replaying endlessly in their mind. What makes this painful is that regret grows stronger with time, not weaker, especially when they watch you heal without them. especially when they realize your kindness was never weakness. It was a rare form of strength they were too immature to recognize. And while you slowly rebuild your peace, they remain trapped inside memories of what they destroyed with their own hands. But here's the hidden truth most people never talk about. Some realizations arrive too late to change anything. And for certain people, that becomes the heaviest consequence of all. Sometimes the greatest mistake you can make is believing that because justice is delayed, it does not exist. But life has always moved deeper than appearances. The people who hurt you may have escaped accountability in front of others. They may have smiled while you suffered, walked away while you broke, or acted untouched by the damage they caused. But as Maya Angelou understood, every action shapes the soul of the person committing it. And eventually, people become prisoners of the very energy they release into the world. That is why you must be careful not to destroy yourself trying to witness revenge. Some consequences are invisible, some unfold slowly in silence, and some are so psychological that no audience will ever fully see them. The loss of peace, the collapse of trust, the haunting regret, the emptiness success cannot fill. These are battles many people fight behind closed doors after they wounded someone genuine. So stop asking why they seem to win. The real question is this: what kind of person are they becoming because of what they did to you? Because in the end, life is not only about what happens to us, it is about what our choices turn us into. And there is nothing more dangerous than gaining the world while slowly losing your soul in the process. And somewhere tonight, in a quiet moment nobody else will witness, someone may finally be feeling the weight of what they did to you.